So my goal with this look was to for it to be very chic and cute and 60s and Audrey Hepburn-y, but I feel like I just look like I am in my 60s, like it's giving very grandma. Hello guys, I am Cheyenne and welcome to my dream house. So this is the place where we take the horrors and we put them on a shelf for a little bit and we make something cute. Because sometimes you have to do that to keep from going insane. We don't want to ignore the horrors forever. The horrors are important for us to pay attention to and be involved in. But sometimes we just have to put them away for a little bit and do something productive and constructive and cute and pink and girly. Or at least that's what I need to do. So that's what I'm here for. You can do whatever you like. You can go wash your dishes, whatever brings you joy. Anywho, so as you may have guessed from, I am a Barbie girly, right? Like, I love them. I have been a Barbie girly, I think probably my whole life. My mother is also a Barbie girly. My mom was born in 1959, so she and Barbie are the same age. So every year that Barbie hits like a milestone birthday, I also know to get my mom the Barbie. My mom collects Barbies a little bit. She has always been she learned how to sew, making clothes for her Barbies. So they were always kind of imbued with this specialness. And I didn't play with them a lot as a child, actually. But when I got into the history of Barbie, I got really interested in her. I don't know why all of my hyperfixations are like this. We'll be like, I liked the thing, and then I read some book, and then I got obsessed. In particular for me, it's the book Forever Barbie by M.G. Lord. If you have any interest in Barbie in any way, shape, or form, I highly recommend that book. This is all only tangential. The point is, I found a cut of Barbie fabric that is so cute, and we have to make something with it. So that was a lot of preamble for nothing, I'm sorry. So feast your eyes on this. Oh, isn't that so cute? So thankfully, because I just found it and was like, oh, this is really interesting. And if I remember correctly, it was not a expensive purchase. I think it was like $15 or $20. And initially, I wasn't 100% sure. I had a hunch it was probably from when Barbie Swan came out, but I wasn't positive, right? But the descriptor on the side calls the print Tossed Swans and says it's from 2003. So this is absolutely Barbie Swan Lake fabric. The swans have this little glitter to them, and I think it is so cute and so wholesome. So obviously, I feel like that means I need a Swan Lake Barbie ballerina twirly pretty princess dress out of it, right? Now, I don't have that much of it. I have maybe about 2 yards, and it's not incredibly wide. My delusional ass still has a fantasy that I'm going to make a big twirly princess dress. So I have 2 plans. I have the plan A. If I can figure out how to piece it, then this is the one I want to do. And then I also have a plan B. So plan A, I would really like to do the St. Valentine's Day dress by the Pattern Establishment. It is so cute and flouncy and exactly the energy. And this is the reason that I feel like maybe I can do it, because none of the pieces are particularly big, and I'm thinking that those big bow straps I will do. I have this lavender piece of Dupioni left from probably from Rapunzel, that I figure I can do the straps with, maybe even the center back panel, and then I can do a fake corset crisscross maybe. So that's why in my brain, in my delusion, I think that I might be able to pull that off. I'm going to attempt that first. I'm going to trace all the pieces for that first. And then if that doesn't work, then my plan B is McCall's M8209. Now, I made this pattern multiple times. I made this pattern for when I did my Sally dress. I've made a couple different versions of it, and it actually does not take that much fabric. So in my brain, best case scenario, twirly pretty princess dress. Worst case scenario, I do this McCall's dress. I'll probably do a shorter skirt, and I'll probably do it a paneled so I can get it as full as I can, because I just want to be able to twirl, right? I'm not 100% sure which one is going to be the winner, but the only way to find out is to go ahead and get started. So let's go do that.
Okay, so I started by tracing the pieces of the pattern establishment pattern onto the fabric with my heat erase markers just to see if I could make it work. But try as I might, and I tried, there was just no way that I was going to be able to get that skirt, as full as that skirt is, out of this pattern. And I had to just make my peace with that, and I decided that I was just going to use the McCall's pattern because I know I can get it out of that, and it's just gonna be easier. So I decided to switch gears. I cut the bodice pieces out as is, as the pattern calls for, and then for the skirt, I decided to just take what was left, figure out what the shortest I could make the skirt where I would still be happy with it, and see how many panels I could get out of the fabric with that length, and I was able to get 3. So I will still be able to have a pretty full, nice and twirly skirt. So the vibes that we're going for are still achievable. Then the bodice calls for a lining, so I also cut the bodice pieces out of, I had some lavender cotton hanging around, so I decided that that would work because it's still kind of in the same color family. And because the bodice is the bodice of a dress that I've made multiple times, I was able to crank this out so quickly. I just put all of the bodice pieces together, really simple, and then I put the lining pieces together the exact same way. The one thing that I did slightly differently than when I've made this in the past is I decided just to try to make those bow tie ties from the other pattern to see if I could use those as my straps. And as of making this dress, I am still working on getting my serger fixed. So I have to pink the edges for this just to keep everything from fraying. But I just pinked all those edges and then pressed them all out. It works just as well, but I miss my serger. Next, I used some of that lavender dupioni that I showed you earlier, and I cut the bow tie strap patterns out of the other pattern that I was looking at and put them together. Really simple. I do think if I do this again in the future, I might interface at least one side of these just so they're a little bit stiffer, but I was just following the pattern the way that it called for it. Next, I pinked all of those edges on the straps, and then I had to turn them out. Now, this was a little bit annoying because this strap starts pretty narrow and then gets pretty wide, so getting the wider bit through that narrow opening was a little annoying, but it's not the worst I've had to do. I have had to turn out, tubes that are nothing. This was not that bad. It just took a while. Then for a little extra ballet princess flair, I added a little bit of this white scalloped lace to the center of the bodice. I just felt like it would be a nice little detail. I think it makes everything really pop. And as somebody who works with ballet costumes all day, every day, it is a very authentically ballet detail. So I was really pleased with that. Next up, it was time to attach the bodice and the lining. I attached them just at the top and then made sure that I left openings for the straps and then turned that out and pressed it. Sometimes I've done this where I also will sew the bottom closed if I want it to be a little bit more corsety, but because I knew I was just going to attach the skirt right to it, it wasn't super necessary in this case. Next, I placed in my strap pieces and just slip stitched them into the openings so that it would still be kind of enclosed and look nice. From there, it was time to put the skirt pieces together. Easiest part of this whole thing. Just 2 big seams to put the whole thing together. Because my serger is not working and I wanted to make sure that everything looked pretty and twirly, I did decide to do French seams for these, which are a little bit different. You start with wrong sides together and then I pinked those edges. Then you turn the pieces right side together and you do the same seam. So basically that edge is completely enclosed in the fabric. I don't do these all the time because they have extra steps to them. But for something like this where I want to be able to spin in this and you might see the underside, it was worth it to me to do, and it looks finished and nice. I also decided to hem the skirt at this point flat just because it was easier. Because I'm working with so little fabric, I did just turn that end under instead of doing a full proper rolled hem. It's not the end of the world. It's not what I would do if I had all the fabric in the world at my disposal, but you got to make do sometimes. From there, I attached the skirt and the bodice, which I apparently didn't film, but it's exactly what it sounds like. Just right sides together, bodice, skirt, boom, boom, bam, gathered up. It wasn't that exciting. And from there, I also added my zipper. I had a white zipper on hand, so that's what I used. Honestly, I don't think it's super noticeable, so that was perfectly fine with me. Next, I felt like it needed one extra little element, and I had a little scrap of this lavender dupioni left, so I decided to make a quick little bow. I just put a little tube together, sewed through the center. Then I made a little center band that I just whip stitched together. It doesn't need to be rocket science. I'm just putting a little bow together. Then I whip stitched that bow in place at the center of the top of the bodice. Then for one last little magical Swan Lakey element, I also added this little crystal to the center of the bow. I don't know, it seemed Swan Lakey to me, or at least Barbie Swan Lakey. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt right.
All right, and here is the finished dress. I feel so cute. I feel so cute. Like, I think that I did a pretty good job at being relatively restrained. Like, there was a temptation to make this like the most frou-frou, like 47. I was tempted to put more lace on it, but I think that just the little bit I have on there really works. Okay, we just switched to vertical so you can see the whole dress, but like, it's so cute. The twirlability is perfect. It is a little short, so I'm wearing bloomers under it, but I think that just adds to like the pretty princessness. I will say tying these is kind of tricky for me to do by myself. I might have my husband help me do it later, but I'm really pleased. I'm really, really happy with how it's looking. Yeah, and like, I think the bodice works. I thought about putting bones in it, but honestly, I'm glad I didn't. It's nice to just have something a little more casual. Do you know what I mean? And I think that this really works. I'm really happy with it. So I think that it served its little Barbie dream, you know, ballet purpose. I'm really excited to play around with different ways to style it. I almost want to see if I can style it with a blouse underneath or with like a shrug or something, just to see what other ways I can play with it. But it's really cute. I will absolutely be wearing this out this summer, Barbie Girl Summer. I mean, yes, technically you could say Barbie Girl Summer was Barbie movie summer, but I mean, it's always Barbie time for me. So y'all just were caught up with me for that one little bit. I'm always a Barbie girl, okay? My hair looks crazy. I had this idea that I was gonna look like a 60s like updo. I don't know if it's quite working. I also haven't worn this clip-in ponytail in a while, but I feel really cute. I'm really, really happy with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, maybe do a little pirouette over the like and subscribe button. So stupid. And I will see you guys next time. And until then, I just want to make sure that you guys know that you are loved, you are special, and I'm so glad you're here. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.